Hello everyone, I'm Samuel from the Craftable PRO team. In today's video we are going to generate our first CRUD, which includes a listing, edit and create forms, as well as delete action. Let's start by sharing my screen and picking up where we left off in our last session. As you can see, we've set up an empty admin panel equipped only with the core functionalities of Craftable PRO. We've structured the database, created migrations, and migrated them. Now let's move into the terminal and start generating a CRUD for our database titled Trainings. Just a quick reminder, the trainings table includes timestamps, a title, and a text. Both title and text are translatable, stored as JSON types. If you missed our previous video on the database structure, I highly recommend checking it out. In Craftable PRO, we have two main ways to generate CRUD, using the interactive wizard mode or typing parameters directly into the command using options. Today, I'll demonstrate the interactive wizard mode. The most common command in Craftable PRO is the generate CRUD command. By using the wizard option or -w, we will enter the wizard mode like this. Initially, we'll decide what to display on the listing page. I believe the title will suffice, so I'll simply type title into the command line and press enter. The ID column will be added automatically. Next, we address sorting options. We can choose based on which columns we will allow sorting. Since we have only the columns ID and title on the listing page, I will choose both of them and hit enter. You can see that next to every question, there is a predefined answer. Since choosing ID and title is the default option, I don't need to list the column names. It is enough to hit the enter button. Then we need to choose which columns will be visible on the form page that represents the create and edit operations. We want all columns to be editable, so we will simply press enter. Following that, we'll determine which columns are translatable. As I mentioned in the previous video, Craftable PRO supports a localization feature, and all translatable columns are stored as JSON in the database. Given that both the title and text were defined as JSON columns, they are recognized as translatable by default. We'll make both columns translatable with a simple press of the enter key. Craftable PRO also supports media upload. The media has a separate database table which was already migrated during the Craftable PRO install command. We went through this in the second video of this series. You can create multiple collections for each table from which you are generating CRUD. For instance, if you had a clients table and each client could have documents and photos, you would create collections named photos and documents. You can then directly set some constraints in the code for each collection, such as only supporting PDFs with a maximum size of 5 megabytes for documents and only image formats with a size of 2 megabytes max for images. In our case, we need a cover image for each training session. We'll name this collection cover and confirm that it will only contain images by typing cover again. Next, we'll consider whether to establish relations with other tables. We'll explore this further in our upcoming video, but for now, note that the trainings table does not link to other tables. The last step involves deciding whether to include an export feature. Craftable PRO supports exporting to Excel, so to demonstrate this, I'll opt in by pressing yes and complete the CRUD generation. As you can see in the console output, Craftable PRO has generated all necessary controllers, models, views, and requests. It has also set up permissions for CRUD operations, enabling us to assign specific permissions to roles for each action. In order for permissions to work with our newly created CRUD, Craftable PRO generates an additional migration that needs to be run. After the generation, we need to rebuild the assets using npm run Craftable PRO build. We'll now head over to our admin panel to explore the newly generated admin module for trainings. After refreshing, the new trainings item will appear in the sidebar. Here, I'll add a new training session. Notice how we can create a session in any language we've enabled as shown in the settings from our third video. After saving, the new training will appear in our listing, where we can further edit or delete it. As you can see, generating a new CRUD is very easy. Stay tuned for our next video where we'll generate CRUD for exercises and introduce our first relational database setup using Craftable PRO. So see you next time.